Fort Hamilton's coordinator of student affairs was a sharp, stout, and principled man. Tireless in his leadership, he was widely admired and somewhat feared by the students. He never ruled by edict. Instead, he always got his way through intelligent conversation by showing you why you were wrong. He would talk to the students at their own level and above it simultaneously. Despite this, many of the students were devoted to him. Yasmin told him about her reservations. Her religious beliefs meant that she couldn't attend the dances, and she expected he would just nod and say okay. Instead, he told her that it didn't work that way, that as an e-board member, she was required to attend all school functions, dances included. He indicated that this was part of the job description that she had signed onto, and that if she didn't want to attend the dance, she could sit in another room in the basement during the event. That was the only compromise he offered, and Yasmin didn't see how that would help her. During the conversation, they both held fast to their beliefs, and Yasmin saw a gray cloud overtaking the room, a mist brewing from their clash of principles. She knew that it wasn't that the coordinator of student affairs was opposed to her as a person. It was more that he felt that everything had to be exactly the same for everybody, and that his principle of equality was being violated. On the other hand, Yasmin believed that she wasn't asking for any special treatment, only fair accommodation for her principles. But then the Kosa implied that Yasmin's troubles stemmed from an overly protective Arab father, and that bothered her. He cut the conversation short, telling her that he would call her parents. Yasmin walked out of his office, with his final words bouncing around in her head. "I don't think this is going to work if you can't go to the dances," he had said, setting her nerves on edge. As she expected, the phone call between the Kosa and her father resolved nothing. The two men agreed to meet instead. Yasmin had told her father about the Kosa's idea of her sitting in another room during the dance, and her father sought advice on the idea. He called up Sheikh Ibrahim, a local African-American Muslim leader who, Ismail figured, had grown up in New York, and so was familiar with both American ways and Muslim doctrines. Ismail asked him if his daughter could attend the dances, and, as expected, the sheikh said that she should not. Ismail then asked if she could go but sit in the basement. The sheikh's answer employed analogical reasoning. "If you're in a drug house," he rationalized, "and it's a 3-bedroom house, and everybody is using drugs in one of the bedrooms, when the police come, you will still be arrested as being a part of that house." His answer was resolute and categorical. She could not attend the dances. Ismail agreed and asked the sheikh to accompany him to the meeting. Yasmin became jittery. Her name was already up in big letters in leadership under Student Organization Secretary. She already loved the e-board. She just wanted the issue settled. Meanwhile, word spread in leadership that Yasmin couldn't attend the dances, and on Friday the e-board held a meeting without her to discuss the issue. The Kosa spoke up, reminding the e-board that he had spelled out the duties of elected positions before the election to all those who ran. Jessica, the sophomore representative, said that she had spoken to Yasmin, who very much wanted to continue as secretary, but the e-board unanimously agreed with the Kosa that unless you attend the events, you must resign. The meeting between the Kosa and her father was held on Monday during one of Yasmin's classes, and she ran to the Kosa's office after her class finished. The Kosa let her in, closed the door, and told her that her father was unwilling to budge. He then reiterated his position that as secretary she had to attend all the events, and if she didn't, he explained, she would have to resign her position. But that's not fair, Yasmin pleaded. There must be something we can do. Over the weekend, she had tried to look up the issue on the internet and had come across the Federal Equal Access Act. She quoted it back to him as well as she could remember. We're all supposed to have equal access. The Kosa shook his head paternally and told her it wasn't going to work. She remembers him apologizing. I'm sorry, he said. I don't think your father is going to agree to our terms. He told her it would be best if she prepared a resignation letter, and Yasmin started to cry. At home, her father described to her what had happened at the meeting. The sheik had told the Kosa the reasons she couldn't attend the dances, and the talk naturally gravitated to the option of her sitting in the basement during the events. The sheik ruled that out. Dances entailed listening to sexed-up secular music, the fraternization of girls and boys, and usually illicit drinking. He knew, he said. He had grown up in New York. The Kosa pointed to the speakers in the wall. What if music came through the speakers right now, while you're sitting here? Would that be wrong? The sheik responded by saying, well, if I'm sitting in here, you're imposing the music upon me, correct? Then the fault is not mine. Do you understand? The Kosa turned to Ismail. With all due respect to your religion, sir, how long do you think you can control your daughter? This line burned Yasmin's father like acid. As he relayed details of the meeting, he told Yasmin how much he resented the comment. The meeting concluded with the Kosa pronouncing either that Yasmin would attend all the events or she would be removed from her position. It's better if you resign, her father told her, than to have it show up on your record that you were removed from a position. She felt powerless, defeated, and angry. She dragged herself to the computer and formatted a very official-looking resignation letter, complete with approved, disapproved checkboxes from the Kosa and the principal. It also included this statement. I was forced to submit my resignation due to the system's inability to understand my moral obligations. For example, my beliefs prevent me from having anything to do with drinking, dancing. When I was young, the system told me to stand up and fight for what I believe in, while now I am being told to do the exact opposite. Instead, I should give up what I believe in for some rules and regulations. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for what he believed in and gave up his life for it. I too am taking that same stand by giving up my position to defend what I believe in. Much later, Yasmin regretted the spurious comparison with Martin Luther King Jr. I caved in, and he was killed for what he believed in. It was so wrong, she told me, laughing, but at the same time she said she was traumatized for having to do something against her core principles. She felt as if she were committing a crime against herself, she said, as if she were signing herself off life support.